welcome to the latest edition of the Big Bang Review Show. This is episode 4, part 4, and once again, we're talking about the book Kiss at 50 by Martin Popoff. Of course, as we mentioned, Martin Popoff is a great rock journalist, and he's written many great rock music-oriented books over the years. His latest, of course, is, as I said, Kiss at 50. And we've been taking a look at this book, and what I love about the book is throughout the book, it celebrates Kiss's 50 years, their 50-year career, which is not every band can say they lasted for 50 years, so that's quite an accomplishment. I must say, the Kiss fan myself, a diehard Kiss fan, as you know, I think anybody worth their salt that's had a 50-year career or more is worthy of a book like this. And one fun thing about the book is you got a chapter for each of the 50 years, and so throughout the book it discusses very key moments in what we Kiss fans like to call history. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Kiss appearing on the 1979 Halloween edition episode of The Tomorrow Show on NBC, which starred then Tom Snyder, who was a very big talk show personality at the time, and he'd go on to have great success throughout his career. Sadly, Tom has since passed away, but this is one of his most memorable episodes, the Kiss episode. And of course, as I said, Kiss appeared in 1979 on the Halloween edition of his show. And what we're going to talk about is that episode was unique in that all 4 members of Kiss appeared on the show. And what was very entertaining, interesting, different about it was that typically Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, who were the frontmen of the band, the lead singers, they would typically do the bulk of the press and interviews. So this was very different for the fact you had all 4 members of Kiss appearing on the show. And of course, anybody that's seen that episode, I mean, Tom Snyder himself, I mean, he was just cracking up through the entire episode, and he took a particular liking to guitarist Ace Frehley. Now, of course, anybody that's seen this show knows that Ace was drunk and high. I mean, there was no hiding it, and he just kind of went crazy. And for the first time maybe in Kiss history, when you get all 4 members of Kiss appearing in an interview together, Ace Frehley was considered kind of a quiet guy. He didn't get as much press as Gene and Paul. I mean, he was the star of the show, and Tom Snyder made sure of that. And then you look at Gene and Paul, you can see how pissed they were. Peter Criss again is kind of just going along with Ace, cracking up, and he didn't quite say as much about crazy stuff as Ace, but Peter definitely was hamming it up too. Like, I remember telling stories about how he grew up in a gang and stuff like that. And again, you can just tell Gene is so pissed, and Paul is really kind of ticked off. You can tell, but they have to keep their cool. But it's become one of the most infamous moments in history. Now again, I'm going to get the book here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So right here, as you can see, okay, that's Tom Snyder, the talk show host I'm talking about. It talks all about this episode, page 86, when you get the book. Okay, folks? So check that out. Again, we're talking about this beautiful book, Kiss at 50. And I, throughout this episode, told you how much I really, just love the cover. Love the cover. It's one of those things when you go in a bookstore or you're looking online, like, say, Amazon.com, where I got that book. You see a cover like that, and it's like, what the hell is that? That looks so cool. I want to buy it. Even to somebody that's not as diehard of a Kiss fan as I am, I think you, at least if you see that like in a bookstore, in a Barnes and Noble or something, you're going to walk past the book and at least, wow, that looks neat. You're going to at least pick it up and check it out. And I think even the casual Kiss fan, casual music fan sees a book like that. And again, like I said, you would think a book like that costs $40 or $50. Let me tell you guys, no, hell no. I paid for it, I think, $26. It's since then gone down to about, I think you go on Amazon, you can get for about $23. So for a nice coffee table book, it is really well worth its salt, and throughout the book, you get other, again, great moments throughout Kiss's 50-year career, and many of us Kiss fans will refer to that as a Kisstory. Yes, it's a play on words, but let me tell you, they also have one of the greatest moments, of course, when Kiss got signed. Kiss was a local New York band, and they really didn't break out in a huge way until they released their fourth album, which was a live album, because there was something going on with Kiss when they would perform live, and it was a type of thing where people they're not coming across like they sound in concert, so let's put out a live album, okay? Of course, naturally called Kiss Alive, and there's been a bit of controversy over years about Kiss Alive, because it's come out that they went back and, while it's a live record, they patched things up in the studio. It didn't sound as great because there's background noise and stuff. I will tell you, I don't care if they patch stuff up and it's not really 100% total Alive album. I'll tell you why. Pretty convincing. I mean, I was entertained. I listened to that album. I'm entertained. It seems like it's a live album, so even if they patched stuff up to me, it sounds live. If you listen to the roar of the crowd throughout Kiss Alive, it almost sounds like you almost have the belief like, hey, I was there that night. And so, again, Kiss broke in a big way in 1975 with the release of Kiss Alive. And they've just been getting bigger and bigger. Now, probably one of the my favorite greatest Kiss albums of all time, followed up Kiss Alive, Kiss Destroyer. I mean, look at that album cover. The guys looked like they were standing on top of the world. I mean, it was just something really fun to see. It looked like Kiss owned the world. Kiss was out to rock the world, and rock the world they did. I mean, an album like Destroyer, you had everything from Detroit Rock City, Sweet Pain, and Beth. Now, anybody doesn't know, take a listen to Sweet Pain. There's kind of a sexual innuendo if you listen to the lyrics. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think you can figure it out. So again, if you're a Kiss fan, I'm telling you, go out and get Kiss at 50 by Martin Popoff. And you know what? You will not be disappointed. Just such a super cool book. And let me tell you, folks, another thing. So you get all these cool moments in Kisstory. There's a couple more worth mentioning. Also in 1975, before Kiss really broke in a huge way, they were always very big in Detroit. And I believe it was in Cadillac, Michigan, where the football coach, he was training the football team like with Kiss songs, such as Strutter, for example, I think was one of the songs that they trained to. And then the football team would listen to these songs and they'd get revved up for their practices. And Kiss heard about it and actually got invited by the coach, I believe, and the football team. And they had like a major Kiss day. And that is also talked about in the book. It's got some great pictures from that. Now, again, anybody that owns the Kisstory videos, I believe it was on Kisstory Volume 1, that they got a lot of cool footage back from 1975, video footage that you can see of Kiss appearing on the football field with the football team. And, the coach, the athletes, the cheerleaders, they all got dressed up in Kiss makeup. And the photos are just so great to see, black and white. It was a major Kiss day for the local high school football team. Now, not every high school can say that. I think that's the only time they ever did anything like that. And they actually were dropped off on the football field by a helicopter. Again, how cool is that? And that's another great reason you should get this book, because it touches on all kinds of cool things like that. And then also it mentions Kiss's original manager, Bill Aucoin. He's featured in the book because prior to working with Kiss, Bill Aucoin, to my knowledge, he had nothing to do with the music. He was actually in the TV industry, and he actually helped Kiss really break out in a huge way. And so he deserves to get mentioned in this book. Sadly, Bill Aucoin has since passed on. Now, as far as wrapping up this episode, taking a while for me to do that because I've been just so super busy. But let me tell you, folks, okay? Here's the thing. Now we're going to give a score for the book. Again, Kiss at 50 by Martin Popoff. Go out and get the book. So far we gave the book a score of 70. And you can go back and check out the previous parts to this episode. We break down the score, but for a total score of a book, we're going to give it, let me see here, a total score of 95. And that's pretty, that's a pretty good score. Now, you might be asking, hey, if it's so great, why didn't you give it 100? Well, I'll tell you why. Go back and check out the previous parts of this episode. But basically, because I think a real key moment in Kiss's history, just to kind of put this episode to bed, was when Kiss took off the makeup in 1983. Now, 1983 is mentioned in the book, but according to Martin Popoff, and I didn't totally agree with this, he thought a key moment in 1983, which it was when guitarist Vinnie Vincent joined Kiss. And Vinnie Vincent, whatever people may think of him, he was a very key part of Kiss in 1983, although he only officially played on 2 albums. Lick It Up was kind of his main thing. He wrote, I think, 9 of the 10 songs on the album. He also did some of the guitar tracks on Creatures of Night, but he was an official member back in 1982. That's how Kiss kind of found him, and then he would go on to record and write the Lick It Up album with them. But because of his personality and refusal to sign a contract, he was eventually fired and kicked out of the band. They had difficulty getting along with him and him kind of going along with the program. So then he didn't last very long in Kiss. And as important as he was, I think, in the history of Kiss, I think it was a much bigger thing that you think would be mentioned was the fact that Kiss took off their makeup in 1983. And it was a key thing, because I remember back then, my God, Kiss is taking off the makeup. It was kind of among Kiss fans, a mixed bag of emotions, because on one hand, people were excited. Oh boy, we're going to finally get to see what they look like. And, there was the MTV unmasking, and that was a cool thing because, again, it would pan to each Kiss member. They were all 4 on MTV, which was at the time Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Eric Carr, Vinnie Vincent. And then you'd get to see what all the guys looked like. That was pretty exciting. But then a lot of Kiss fans also kind of were disappointed when they took the make. Oh man, they're not the same. I think Kiss, according to Paul Stanley, felt they had to do it because they wanted to prove that they could be successful without the makeup. And I think I understand that. I think they proved that. But let's be honest, when Kiss got back together in '96 with the original lineup and they did the reunion tour, people were just, oh yeah, man, they're getting the original guys back. They're putting on makeup. So as great as it was that they put it back on in '96, I think a real key moment was taking the makeup off, because they were taking a real kind of risk there, because the Kiss fans could have reacted in a real negative way. For the most part, I think the Kiss Army accepted it, because Kiss remained pretty successful throughout that time in the '80s. And so, it is what it is. But Martin Popoff admitted, I seen in an interview he did for this book, he said, well, I'm not really a diehard Kiss fan. There are other bands I'm much a bigger fan of, but I am aware of just how popular band Kiss is. So there is, Kiss deserves to have a book like this. And so I think that explains why Martin Popoff may not have realized what a big step taking off Kiss's makeup was. So that's the only reason the book doesn't get a 100. But I think 95 is still worth going out to get. But I will let you be the judge. Take care, my friends. We'll talk again real soon. Bye for now.